Okay, so your marriage is moving closer and closer to divorce. It feels like the flow is just going there, and you just want to know, how do I buy more time to turn this around? It was a question I dealt with a potential client the other day. And I was like, there's probably a lot of guys who have this question. So let me go ahead and break it down for you here so you can understand how it works and what you need to do to extend that window to give you time to open her back up to the marriage. Now, what I want you to think about from this point is, from her view, she's thinking that you are a certain way, this marriage is a certain way, and that will never change. That is what's giving her the certainty to move towards divorce. And chances are you are giving her a lot of evidence of that. And if you have changed and she's not recognizing it, it's because she wants to hold on to that belief, because she spent so much time building it up that you can't change, that this will never change, that this marriage will never meet her needs, that she has to hold on to it. So she's going to be looking for what's called a confirmation bias, which basically means you're looking for evidence to support the belief that you already have and ignoring all other belief. So what you need to do is create a pattern interrupt, call it here. You need to create a pattern interrupt inside of that belief. You need to make her question if that belief is true. And this sounds pretty straightforward and easy, but it actually takes a lot, because essentially, look at it like this. There's, say, this graph, and here we'll say this is her belief. Here, this threshold is her belief. And here's where you're probably hanging out at, right? And you're making some changes. Maybe you started here and you're making some change, you're making some changes, but you haven't crossed the threshold of where it challenges her belief about who you are and what this marriage is. And until you can cross it right here, that creates a pattern interrupt, right? So when you cross right here, this threshold, it creates a pattern interrupt. It makes her question that belief. Your job in saving your marriage is to create a large enough change within yourself, react to things in different ways, behave in ways that makes her question the belief that you can never meet her needs and she's better off without you than with you. That's the whole game, right? That's how you buy time. You have to create a pattern interrupt, and a pattern interrupt is causing her to question her belief. And this isn't a tactic. This isn't a technique. It's not even a strategy. It's just the process. And it's why you have to focus on making the right changes, because down here tends to be all the superficial changes, right? Like, oh, now I'm going to the gym. Oh, I'm helping out around the house. Oh, I'm trying to be more present with her. Like, a lot of that's the superficial. You're not actually addressing the real changes that she's looking for, the changes that are going to bring you across this belief. Helping out around the house and going to the gym is not going to cross this threshold, right? Going to therapy is not going to cross that threshold. You have to identify what are her key needs, which I've talked about in other videos. And when you identify those key needs, that's going to allow you to, and you make changes in those areas in a way where she receives those changes, then you cross that threshold, you start creating doubt in her. This is the line of doubt. Think of a pattern interrupt as creating doubt. Now, once you create that doubt, you have to consistently play at that level. You have to consistently reinforce, because once she doubts, now she has to test. She has to know if this is real or not. She has to see, like, hey, I'm questioning this belief, but I've been holding on to this belief for a while. I'm not going to let it go easy. I need to make sure that this is real. So she's going to test. She's going to test hard. And fun fact is, the greater you show up, the heavier the tests are. When she's here, she's going to test you small. When you're here, she's going to test you big. And I was talking to a client. He was showing up really well, super strong. She was giving him tons of great feedback. They were going on dates and everything. And then she just blindsided him with like this huge test. And he collapsed. And it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, because you were showing up so strong, she had to hit you with an equally strong test to see if that's real. So just be prepared. The greater your transformation, probably the stronger she's going to test it because you're creating more doubt. And she wants to hold on to this original belief that she has. She wants to believe that being without you is better than being with you because that's what's fueled her to be able to walk away. So she's not going to let go of it easily. That's why she's going to test it hard to make sure it's okay to let go of it. And she's going to test it often, and you have to be consistent with it. So that's how you buy time. That's the process of creating pattern interrupt. My clients who are in like near divorce or even in legal proceedings, this is what we focus on doing. We create a big enough pattern interrupt to halt the process. And then from there, it creates space to be able to continue making the changes to actually turn things around. All right. Hopefully that all makes sense. If you want help with how to create pattern interrupts, how to change beyond this threshold, there are links below to our programs, resources, guides, everything you need to be able to do this. And I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.